Listen, welcome to our broadcast. Welcome to class tonight. So what I'll do is do me a favor, and we are recording. Listen, welcome to our broadcast. Welcome to class tonight. So what I'll do. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I actually had the session off. So can everybody do me a favor? Uh, just unmute yourself real quick, introduce yourself to everyone, and then go ahead and mute yourself again. So just kind of give a brief introduction of yourself.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Lori Ray. I am an author, a screenwriter, a motivational speaker, and a minister. And Pastor Middleton is one of my mentors. Glad to be here this evening.
Awesome.
Hey everybody, my name is Ariel. I am what I will say as the encouragement coach. I do not look as cute as my auntie Lori on tonight, so that is why you guys see my picture. But I am super glad to be here. I call myself the encouragement coach, and I am the owner of the Airs Boutique, and as well as a recent graduate. So I'm excited. I'm ready to upgrade my value with you guys, and this is going to be a life-changing moment. So glad to be here. Thanks, Pastor.
Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Pastor Ken McNeil. I'm the lead pastor of Turning Point Church, and I am truly excited and honored to be on here. Pastor, I really appreciate the example that you have showed before me throughout the times that I have viewed your live, and seeing your family has increased me and my family and helped me to understand that being a leader is important, and I truly appreciate you.
Awesome. All right, last two.
Hi, this is Pastor Natasha Middleton. I am wife to Pastor Rodney Middleton. I also have an influence corner a podcast that I am about to launch soon, as well as Deneen Dishes, which is a live of my decadent desserts that I have. Truly, it's a pleasure to be here and learning how to be able to prosper in this pandemic in which we are. So I'm excited about what we're going to learn on this evening and excited everybody is here. Let's get ready to rock and roll, Pastor.
Thank you. Hey, niece, Keon.
Hey everybody, my name is Keon Harris Cooper, and I am a follower of Christ who is a millennial at this moment, leading a lot of young people with inspirational messages by way of conferences and events and gatherings. I'm also connected in the community and very involved in empowerment and just the uplifting of our people. Also, I am a independent ambassador for a wellness company. So I am involved in this class to be able to maximize my value, to reach more people in different platforms by the things that I am aspiring to do. And that's reach the millennial community as well as maximize my business.
Awesome. Hey, listen, thank you, everyone. I so appreciate you taking the time to be with us on this evening. We did it a little bit later because we would hope everybody would have eaten dinner by now and so forth like that, and they would have gotten that in. But I'm so excited that you've taken the time to be with us on this evening. And listen, the reason that it became so important for me to do this class is, number one, the first thing that the reason that I wanted to do this class was because even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, well, let me give you a little bit of my introduction's in the presentation, so let me keep going. that I wanted to do this with you all is because during the middle of a pandemic, we've actually done well. And there have been some things that I did last year that that I didn't do this year, but yet it did not stop me or cause me not to prosper in the things that I'm touching and doing. I'm actually doing better this year in the middle of a pandemic because, believe it or not, this time has allowed me to focus a little bit more and allowed us to focus a little bit more. Now, normally, I remember years ago, this particular book I wrote right here, How to Monetize, Secrets to Monetizing Your Mind. And I'm only showing you that particular one. I think it's only one principle from that book that's in the Upgrade Your Value. The reason that I had written that book then is when we were going through a government shutdown. And I'm an ex-federal employee. My wife's a federal employee. But when they were going through the shutdown and they weren't getting paid during the shutdown, and God had put it on my heart to write something so that people would have a roadmap to always be able to create additional resources, but not just additional resources, but to have additional influence when it comes to dealing with people. So when you're looking to expand your territory and expand your influence, this particular class is going to be the ideal class for you. And the reason that I think about upgrade. Most of us have these devices right here. Oh, let me grab it. Most of us have these devices right here, and they're always sending you about upgrading. You know, they always want you to upgrade because your phone starts slowing down so that they can get you to get another phone. But when I think about upgrade as well, I think about renovation when it comes to our homes and so forth. And our homes increase in value. It goes back to what we did with our church. When we moved into our church, the property value at that particular time, because it needed a tremendous amount of work, was $171,000 is what it was. However, we went in, and then when we went in, we actually did work on the property, thus causing the property to increase because of the work we did. The property is now valued at over $397,000 just because of the work we did in. And so I wanted to use this principle, being a real estate person, to understand that when we upgrade ourselves as individuals, we become in demand. And so what I want you to do is I want you to be the person that everybody is looking for in the rest of 2020. I want you to be the person that is going forth in 2021, that everybody is looking for you. Everybody knows that you have the goods. Everybody knows that you can solve or answer their problems. But if we don't have a platform, no one will actually know that we can actually solve problems. So here's what the goal of this class is in the subnote. The goal of this class is to become a person who is in demand. Now, I don't know if anybody watches TV or anything like that. I think I very rarely have watched live TV since we've done on demand, because being on demand means you can do it when you want to, how you want to, and so forth like that. Now, here's the thing that I put in here, because number one, you have to be quick to allow people to know who you are. You got to be very quick. When you get into a room, you may have 30 seconds. When you get to a table, you may have 30 seconds. No one is into the long 2, 3, 4 minute introductions. You got to be impactful. You got to go straight for the jugular and saying who you are. And so one of the things that I developed, and I would encourage everyone to develop, if you don't have one already, is an elevator pitch. Now, you know, when you get in an elevator, it's moments. That's all you have is moments. So you might want to discuss your vision. You might want to discuss your business. You might want to discuss your know-how or your influence. And so I put something together real quick that when I meet someone, this is what I'm sharing with them. Hey, my name is Rodney Middleton. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Excuse me 1 second. I had to let somebody in. I was going for it. So here's what happens is, here's what I let in. I said, my name is Rodney Middleton. I help people who feel frustrated and stuck in their lives to come up with a clear vision for what they love their ideal life to look like. And then I coach them through a very specific process that helps them achieve their dreams. And I make it real simple when I'm doing that. So the thing that I would want you to do is when you have to lock in on who you are and you have to lock in on what you do. So the first thing we want to do is lock in on who you are, and we'll kind of give you, if you have a pitch, I would definitely love to hear that before we're doing that. So we're gonna lock in on who we are, and so here's the thing. I share with people, these are specific areas. Now, while I'm a pastor, I have a sheet that I can do for pastoring, is what I have a sheet that I can do for, but I let people know, hey, my name is Rodney Middleton. I'm an author, certified coach, and an international speaker. That's what I do. I speak on the subject of bringing clarity to your vision. And when I bring clarity to your vision, I'm going to give you the steps necessary to make your vision become fulfilled. This particular picture was, I was invited to speak at a men's meeting one Saturday morning, and there was a lot of men at this meeting, and the young lady that was there caught this picture of that. And believe it or not, I just think about how did I get here? That's just pretty much how I thought. That's what my thought process was. How did I get here based upon this meeting was? Well, how you get on platforms and every other place is this. You have a gift. You have a gift. And when you have a gift, it's up to you to perfect that gift, Once you perfect that gift, then you continue to build on the skills that will separate you from other people. Because the object that you want to do is, you may see people doing what you're doing, but you got to separate yourself from the pack of people that's doing what they're doing. Now, here's the thing that at this particular meeting that I was at, I'm a little bit different when I go to a lot of meetings. I like to shake hands. I like to let people know who I am. When I'm doing an event, here's what I do. I will stand by the door, shake people's hands while they're walking in the door, introduce myself, find out who their name is so we can get to know each other. So by the end, when I'm making a call to action, I plan to stand out more than anybody else at that event stand out, because I made my relationship personal with everybody that was coming through the door. So here's the thing, we got to stand out. We got to stand out. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to stand out. Lo and behold, just stand out all the time. That's all you have to do. Now, here's the thing with standing out. You want to make sure that you don't look like everybody else. That's what you don't want to make sure you don't want to do. You want to make sure you don't sound like everybody else or look like everybody else. What happened? Because during my downtime, or during your downtime, you begin to get more information about what you know. Like for example, you can be a human resources person. And I'm only saying that because my wife does human resources. She can get more information on doing human resources and actually set herself up to become a consultant in human resources, which means she can go in, consult people with that need help setting up systems, setting up human resources, setting up subjects. You can go through and set yourself up as a consultant, and now you've earned extra money. Now, here's why this becomes so important for me. And I think this becomes important for everyone that's here, and even those that aren't here that may get the replay. When I was listening to companies that were not being able to open because of the coronavirus, there were companies, churches, salons and everything like that. The thing I would have suggested, if I were a salon owner, and what I would have put into place was a membership site. What happened? Because people weren't getting their hair done. But just imagine, you are a salon owner, you got a site, your membership site is $25. You have 50 people. Okay, let's say you got 100 people. You got 100 people that's a part of your membership. You now are looking at $2,250 a month you're taking in from the membership site. What am I doing? I expanded my vision, I expanded my know-how, and I'm giving information to people because they can't get their hair done. And what happened is people still want to know how to care for their hair, how to treat their hair. And you can set up a site that like says, wham, $25 is not a lot for me to keep training someone how to take care of their hair with months without them getting it done. Well, that's something that could have been done. And so if there were, hairdressers or barbers in that particular case, that's just an extra stream that you could always use. You've upgraded your know-how and you used how to do business in a pandemic, and because the people can't come to you, you can do that. Well, I've seen people that have exercise or fitness training, and I've seen them work out with people via Zoom and have Zoom meetings or FaceTime meetings or exercise one-on-one. What did I do? I mastered the technology, and I took my know-how with mastering the technology, and I set myself up in a pandemic to make myself valuable to someone else, that I have become their answer. And so in this pandemic thing, even with there were churches that a lot of churches didn't take advantage of the PPP because some of them didn't have their paperwork together, but some of them didn't know how to contact the bank and fill them out. Well, I met a guy that was charging $1,000 to do people's PPP loans for him. I said, wow. And so if he got 10 people in the middle of that, he made $10,000 just having 10 clients to be able to do that. What? He looked at the time we were in, and he looked at how he needed to embrace the technology, and he had to embrace the technology to now make a virtual platform for himself. But before you go into that, you have to be able to define who you are. Define who you are. That's the first thing I always want people to do. Define who you are. Once you define who you are, you'll find out how to have people's answers when it comes to the things that they need to do. You will find out how to get their answers. So I very clearly, and I like to get pictures, nice bright pictures. Normally I try to get smiling ones, but I don't think I smile on any of my pictures. I think that's just the thug, the old-fashioned thug in me or something like that. So here's the analogy that I gave you about how you increase value when you add things or remodel your house. Just think what you're doing is you're doing not a remodel on your house, but a remodel on your skills. Just think about that. If you haven't wrote a book, write an ebook. It doesn't have to be big. The first book I wrote was a little mini book, 4x6 book. It was 20 pages. Now that really, if on sheets of paper, that was 2.5 sheets of paper that I did that. I offered that for free. What did I want to do? I needed to get my name into people's hands. That's what I needed to do. Last year, I spoke at the Bahamas. I had my book. I was passing my book out as business cards, and I had someone reach out to me and wanted me to come back to the Bahamas because they had my book. So what did I do? I used things to begin to, number one, enlarging my platform, but I started increasing my skills. And so what I want everyone to kind of look at is, what am I doing now that I can increase it to make it better? What am I doing now that I can be able to reach people? What works for me for social media? I'm an introvert by nature and an extrovert by assignment, but with social media, it's enlarging my reach. And some of us don't want to engage, but your new people are out there in social media, the ones that will support you and the ones that will get your products. So here's what you think of. You're doing a remodel. You are remodeling yourself is what you're doing. And so it's messy in the beginning, but just think of the value that you're going to have after that. Okay. Are there, and I know I'm going kind of fast. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask through the first part of this that we're doing, because I know I'm sharing a lot and I don't want to go too far if there's a question. So everybody's okay so far? Just nod for me. So I know y'all nod for me. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, here's a question answer. This is the title of the book that I wrote, Keys, 7 Keys to Attracting Wealth. It's the upgrade. Here's the thing, what do you want to be known for? And let's really think about that. What do you want to be known for? Now, I heard Keon talked about, she's a millennial, and she talked about the influence that she has, and there are different areas that she has influence over. Well, her value, or increasing her value, will allow her, like, even for example, so she has meetings. Now what you can get into, you could have Zoom lunches with people. You can have Zoom presentations with people. It's the replacement. When we got locked inside, business didn't stop, but we had to learn how to do things another way, because even with church, we had to do it another way. Now, here's what happened even in church. Normally, I do all the teaching on Sundays and Wednesdays. Well, what the pandemic has afforded me was my folks doing what I've been asking them. The only time they normally do it is when I'm out of town. But normally if I'm there, they be like, you all right, you got this, you all right, you got this. Now, on Sundays and Wednesdays, I got my whole family ministering on Sundays and Wednesdays. Now, how many of y'all know I'm spoiled right now? I don't want that to go away at all. I want them to be there on Sundays and Wednesdays. Let me sit down and do X, Y, and Z until we get back into what we're doing. I learned how to do something new that is exposing them and giving them exposure, is giving them more confidence, and is giving them a platform, and it's allowing me to do what I do, but I can do it from a more relaxed position is what I can do it for. What has that done? That's increasing my day. That's increasing my life is what it's doing. We just learned how to do things differently. So my thing is what do I want to be known for? I showed you what I wanted to be known for in business, but what I wanted to be known for in ministry. In ministry, what I wanted to be known for was a person who teaches the word with simplicity, understanding, boldness, with some humor that will bring change to the life of the person that's hearing it. That's what I want to be known for. Now, initially, I didn't want to be known for simplicity and understanding. I wanted to be known for being deep. And God told me that's not my assignment. And so I had to relegate to do what I was supposed to do. So now that's what I'm known for. Now, here's the 3 points that I put under this. Take the time to figure out. Take the time to figure out how your product or service saves your clients time, money, and frustration. When you make a presentation to someone, you ought to help them in one of these 3 areas. You should save them some money, you should save them some time, or you should save them some frustration. My thing is when I set up a in-person seminar, when I go there, I say, here's what's going to happen from there. You're going to get X from your staff. It's going to produce this, and this will be the outcome because of what I teach them. My thing is as a pastor, but when I go on the road as a minister, while I'm a pastor, I go in this office of an evangelist because I actually bring the church and the pastor together so that it increases what the pastor does. Why? It's clearly defined. I'm not coming to a church just to come to a church. I'm coming to help solve some problems, or I'm coming to be an answer. Why? I'm gonna save you some time, money, or frustration. That's what I'm gonna do. And so get used to writing down ahead of time what you bring to the table. Some of you can go, whenever you go back to work, if you hadn't been working, some of you can go back to work and put this on a paper, slide it to your boss and say, this is why I deserve my promotion. Because this is how much money I'm gonna save you. This is how much time I'm gonna save you, and this is how much frustration I'm gonna save you. When did I learn this concept? I learned this concept over 15 years ago while I was working for the United States Postal Service. And I was, at that particular time, I haven't been there, it might have been longer than that. I think it might have been 17 years, because what I did was I saved my manager. I did my manager's job and my supervisor's job, even though I was a carrier. I enjoyed benefits. I got a chance to go home early and work on projects. I wrote out for my manager when they started changing delivery stuff. I said, look, if I do all your books, I do your inspections. I said, this is what generally they say, how much money gonna save you. If you pull me from this and do this, I said, I will save you $1,500 a month for every carrier that you have in this building, and you have 40 carriers. Now, that's me saving you $1,500 a month times 40 carriers, which was, I'm saving you $50,000 a month. And when I said that to him, to her, she said, all right, well, let's do it. What? Because I went in with my figures. And you could go into your job tomorrow, find out what it takes to do certain things, and you let them know why you are to catch me out. You let them know that this is how much money I'm gonna save you, and this is how much time I'm gonna save you. When you promote me into this position and put this project in my hand, what happened? You increased your value because you found out how to solve a problem. And then you went to the person that you need to solve it for. Now, point two is what I just told you about. How much is your solution worth to the client? So whatever it is that you do, calculate when you come up with a solution, how much is it worth to them? Like if you're the head of a particular ministry and you do that ministry, how much money can you save that ministry, or time can you save that ministry, because you are more efficient at doing it? What's going on? You are becoming in demand. Now, when you become in demand, you don't just become in demand just to get used. You become in demand that you're going to eventually get paid. And so even when you come across clients on social media and you know your value and you know your worth, guess what's going to happen? If they come and try to lowball you, you can tell them, no, this is how much I've invested in this. When it comes to ministry, I've invested tens of thousands of dollars in ministry training. I've developed tens of thousands of dollars in the coaching training. And so I know that when I want to release something like this and release it at the cost of $25, it's you being able to take, and where people, here's the part I tell people, if you can't make $25 extra off of this meeting, I give you your money back. That's what I would tell them. What? Because if you put into practices, not only will you make what you invested, but you will make what you are worth, value, and you're going to start seeing the value in yourself. I think Miss Carolyn is a word person extraordinaire. I promise you, if you give her a paper, in 10 seconds, she can identify if you got 12 spelling mistakes on there. That's valuable, because especially when you get into books and all these other things, when it's starting to edit stuff like that, some of these people charge per word to edit. Forget charging per page, they charge per word. And so if you got a 20,000 word book, some people are charging $1,000 and $2,000 just to edit, if not more. The material is what they're charging you to edit. And I'm sitting up here saying, boy, I wish that was, and the first thing I said is, I wish that was a gift I had, because I know when I'm finished, mine going to the editor so they can find out what's going on. Because I'm the type of person, here's me knowing my limitations. I will read over my mistakes, but not seeing them as mistakes. So what do I have to do? I got to connect with someone who's more valuable at that. And their value to me is priceless, because now you only get one shot at some books that you sell. And if it's full of errors, a lot of times you don't get the comeback. Minister Lori's in here. We did her book. And she can tell you later, I think we did about 150 write-overs or do-overs. She had somebody else look at it, then we looking at it. Wait a minute, I found something. You know, she said, I found something. And then we look at it again. I'm like, okay. And no, let's don't send it to the printer yet, because we realize the value of this one shot. And so when you do that, that value will open up the door to more of your information is what that is. And so here's the third part of this. Suggesting you let your client, don't ever let your client set your rate. I want you to see how much more valuable your service is to them when you frame it in the context of their needs. Because there are people that post on social media all the time as recommendations. As far as Facebook, they post recommendations. You don't let anybody set the price. You know what your worth is. You know what your value is. And that's 3 parts in this book. Know your worth, know your what, know your why, and know your how. That's a part of this. So because you know your value, you can begin to set your price. Now I'm working with, or I have just worked with a young man, and I hate when I gotta say young man, because then they all younger than I am. But this guy, he's working with people and saying this. He told me, he texted me and said, I saw your class and how much it is. I said, no, these for my people that I've done before, because he is suggesting, and it works because the program that he has works, because a couple of things that I'm working on, he's working on the pricing with me. He said, he suggested, don't make what you're doing less than $3,000. Now, how many of you know you can be able to find clients that know your value and your worth, that will take your project and will compensate you to $3,000 because they know you have solved an issue or solved a problem for them. And so you look at yourself as the problem solver. That's how I want you to see yourself, the problem solver. You have people's answers, and that's the thing I want you to keep in your mind, is that you have their answers. Now here's another thing about 4 things that are important to become as far as a demand is concerned. The first thing, develop a talk or a message. Your talk or your message doesn't have to change. It can be consistent. All you gotta do is be consistent and outline what your niche is. What is your niche? Keon says she's a wellness coach. For the most part, when I did wellness stuff, my story never changed. It never changed. Well, I got that from a gentleman that I met. There was a business partner years ago. His name was Patrick Mazer. And I promise you, I was with Patrick so much, I knew Patrick's story. I think I knew Patrick's story better than Patrick knew Patrick's story. But he never changed his story. Never did. I thought that was just phenomenal, because you don't have to remember anything else. And this dude made millions of dollars because he had one talk. It was consistent, and he let people knew what his niche was. It never changed. His story remained the same. So number 1, take the time to develop a talk, a speech, a message, whatever you want to call it. And you want to make it, your talk should be consistent. And it just says, you know, your niche. What problem do you solve? Here's the second thing. Make your speech or your talk memorable. How do you make your talk or your speech memorable? You don't just get them to be inspired, you get them to take action. And so a lot of times if I'm on a platform, and let's just say I'm on a platform and I'm telling people how to secure the bag or get the money, and I'm using this book right here, I'm going to take this book up on the stage with me, and I'm going to read a part of this book out, because it's a part of taking action. I want them to know, not only do I have this book, but I have a course that's designed that you can take advantage of on a monthly basis. I do that because I want them to know that I don't want you to be inspired by what I'm saying. I want you to be ready to call to action. I use this book to teach people how to make money with the information in their head. That's pretty much how that book was. It was an infopreneur. And so you use it. You can have a Facebook Live and you get people to come in and invite them in. Here's the thing that happens with that. Thank you. I see that. I saw your text. And it comes on my computer. And you are absolutely right. So here's the thing. Number 3. And I told y'all that's how she was. And that's good stuff. But number 3, do what no other person does. I stand by the door and shake hands because I want people to remember me. So when I do a call to action, people are led or tied by the emotion, and they will accept your call to action just because you stood out. You didn't go stand by the stage. You stood by the door, and you thought they were important enough to meet. Here's the 4th thing. While you can get on other platforms, begin to create your own platform. How you do that? You use Zoom and Facebook Live to expand your audience, to get more confident in the delivery of your information. And they don't have to be long, but just make them effective. We learned that in a class that we did with Pastor Marcus Gill. And he said, hey, you don't have to be long. He says, write it out, have it on a paper, and so forth. He says, you ain't even got to be 10 to 15 minutes. When we did Wholeness to Pentecost, I did something every day for the partners, and I did it for Facebook. And I did, well, I intended to do 10 minutes, but I ended up doing 15 minutes. You don't have to be long. All you have to do is share your niche, give some encouragement, share what you're doing. If you got a product, say how this product has helped you and how this product can help them. You're doing this, letting them know you need this. There's a young lady that does some stuff that's on social media, and she uses other people's testimonies. She uses other people's pictures, and she uses their before and afters. I had to get on someone before because they were using my before and afters, and I told them I hadn't done any of that stuff in 1.5 years. So you can't use it because you're not being authentic. But they wanted to do it because they knew my picture, my before and after was a hook for them to sell their products, is what happened. What happened? My before was at one weight, my after is 188 pounds less than the before. So it was a good hook for them and all. So here's what you do. Make sure you keep people from trying to steal your stuff, because unfortunately, in the age of social media, it's gonna happen. You will do a post or do something, and someone will take it and make it their own post. You know, it just happens. They will wipe your wipe your name out in a heartbeat and put their name in. So that's what you want to do. You want to use that Facebook Live thing, and even if you do it, here's a strategy I would tell you how to do it by. Do it on a Monday. Like I have my talk show, Living the Dream. I have my talk show and I do it on Mondays. Okay, cool. We'll talk about that before we think. I'm just reading some of the comments. I do it on Mondays. What do I use it for? It's a platform that I now bring others on to expose what they're doing. And eventually I'll get all you on there to expose what you're doing. We have a good old sit down talk on the computer, and we ain't got to travel nowhere, because when I did all my talk show interviews before then, when I was on other people's platforms and talk shows, I had to travel to be on those platforms. I've been to Ohio and in different places just to be on the platform. I'm loving that I don't have to travel anymore to be on a talk show platform. We can just literally log online and do that. So you could do something for a half an hour on a Mondays where you could do it with yourself or you might invite someone else on that will, let's talk about a subject of expertise. And then you get them on, they get to express their know-how, they're exposed. Now, here's what they know they're going to do. They're not just going to come in unprepared. They're going to come into this broadcast having done their research. They're going to come into this broadcast having done extra because of the amount of people that come on. I had someone on last week that was able to minister to someone that they've been trying to minister to for 5 years. And just through the broadcast, they touched the life of the person and their husband and affected them. I said, well, that's what this was all about. What happens? They had to go get know-how. They had all their papers in front. I know they did because that's what I do. I have a whole bunch of papers in front, but most of the time I don't get to it because I've already absorbed all of the information within me, so I know how to discuss it or share it. So your business in a pandemic has changed. How you do things has changed. We don't like it sometimes, but it has changed. I have Minister Lori on here. She did a Sunday message via Zoom with a church, is what she did. What? She was scheduled to do it. We on quarantine, so they had to do it via Zoom. I'm like, that's real hot. I said, I would love to do stuff like that via Zoom because I wouldn't have to go to the airport. I wouldn't have to get in the car. I wouldn't have to travel. And I promise you, I could go and do a broadcast via Zoom. And soon as it's over with on Sunday mornings, I can crawl right back into bed and go to sleep and be okay and so forth like that. Now, I got to make a Zoom meeting room like how we used to have to, when you talk to your partners after church and stuff like that. So I said, we got to come up with something so I can fellowship with them, to have a Zoom meeting room, how we always love on each other and hug up on each other after church. And we could do that sometimes. But it's about getting creative to keep yourself in demand. They're coming out with so much stuff. My daughter showed me that Google has a video thing that I don't even know what it's called, but she used it. They got a messenger room now. They just got so much technology. I think it's more technology than I believe we need. So, but that's just me because I've acclimated myself to the technology that we have. So here's what I want you to begin in a pandemic to focus on. We're going to take our business and we're going to make 50% of our business virtual. You don't have to make all of it because you got to keep yourself ready at the release to go back out there and do business like you were doing it. But you got to make 50% of your business now should become virtual. And I'm okay with that because some of them are meetings that I would love to have that may only be 20 minutes. We don't have to travel to do that. We can just do the meetings. So here's what you turn into. You turn into a virtual author. You don't have to share all your book. You can just share the launch of your book. Your events, you create your own platform. You create your own platform is what you do. And I think that's very hot, that when someone said, I don't have no platform, you can create your own platform now. So I thought that was pretty good. You are now a virtual speaker. You are a virtual speaker, whether you want to believe it or not. You are a virtual coach, one-on-one coach. And here's the thing I want you all to get used to. Podcasting. What's podcasting? You can use YouTube to do podcasting. It's no more than I said before. You can do a 5-minute segment about a subject, and you can do it once a week, every day, twice a week, however you want to do it. You upload it because you can connect your Zoom page to Facebook like I am tonight. And then we have another platform called StreamYard that you can connect your Facebook and your YouTube page to that. And it's available. And you can take those, and when you make yourself a website, just take the YouTube share links, the copy links, put them in there, put them on your page, get a cover done to put in the front of it about your podcast, that this is your podcast, and you can label it whatever you want to label it. My daughter started hers, Hers is Inspired by Promise podcast. My wife has one, The Influencer. Her podcast is coming up. I think you can see the whole thing that if you're in our house, you got to be working on something. You can't just not work on, not just be sitting by idle. You should have things. Why? Because I want people to come and start looking for you. That's what I want. I want people to come and start looking for you. And when they start looking for you, you're going to be able to articulate the answer that you have from them. So take 50% of your business, make it virtual. And now one of the things after I finish this, we'll go through pricing. I'll let you off of mute, is what I'll do. But here's some things just to do. Let me give you all some secrets about what some people do. Dr. R.A. Vernon. Dr. R.A. Vernon is the master of reading books, listening to CDs, listening to tapes, and he's the master at rewording that stuff and making it his. He's the master of it. What he does, read more, learn more, serve more, depending on what you're trying to learn. So there's nothing wrong with listening to something and then putting your spin on it, put what you do on it. Number 2, invitations and opportunities. Put yourself out there. Get a little flyer done on Fiverr and say that you are open to be interviewed on podcasts or talk shows, and put on there what your subject is that you want to talk about. And once you put on there what your subject is, people will start coming to look for you. That's what will happen. I mean, I've been on the radio stations here and so forth like that. And it's awesome. It is just doggone awesome that I get on there and share whatever God gives me to share. The third thing, add additional skills. The fourth thing, follow market trends and get ahead. Now here's the part where I tell people about follow market trends and get ahead. Let's just say you adding a t-shirt business to your t-shirt. One guy mastered this, and I'm only sharing this for business purposes and information. It has nothing to do with politics. The guy in the beginning was not an overt fan of President Obama. However, he saw an opportunity when they had the hope, the different color, the African shirts on, about the hope shirts. He made those shirts, sold those shirts, and because he wasn't just married to the person, and he made over $600,000 selling t-shirts based upon that logo, based upon that. So in that particular case, that was a trend. You might see something that people are doing now. I see what people are doing now, even in this season. They're selling shirts that say, I can't breathe. They're not doing it to mock what happened. They're just following a trend. And what happens is people are purchasing them because they're following a trend. So here's what I want you to begin to do. Look for opportunities and look for trends. Join some Facebook groups that may interest you. Come out of some of the ones that people don't support you. Join some of the ones where you see an ability to sell yourself because you are a product, and you're going to have to sell yourself as a product. That's what you are. And since you're a product and you're selling yourself as a product, you join that group, you start commenting on stuff, and then before you're inviting people to your stuff, you can post about your stuff. You can post about what you're saying. What I did, one group that I joined, that was a speaking group. I put in there when I was going to the gym working out. Well, it just struck a conversation. And when it struck a conversation, a few persons and I started engaging. And so when I was selling shirts and books, they were buying it just because of the engagement. That's what they were buying it for. So here's what I'm saying to you. Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short for what you represent. Don't sell yourself short for who you are. You have someone else's answer. And the more you engage information with yourself, the more people will see how valuable you are and how much money you can save them. Now, what you do, research what certain things cost, and you can formulate what you can say to the competitor and say, look, if I do this work for you, this is how much money I can save you. One comment years ago, and then we'll open up the floor for questions. I'm gonna answer a couple of questions that we see in there. But I'm a degreed accountant by nature. I have a degree in accounting, and so I think I was 24 years old or 23 years old. I went through this employment agency, and they hired me for this lady that had a flower shop, because the person she had keeping her books, he didn't know what he was doing at all. I went in there because they told her, pretty much based upon what she was describing, it was going to take about 3 weeks to fix her books. I fixed her books in 1 week because I knew what I was doing. And so she wanted to hire me, but she wasn't paying me enough based upon what I was already making on my other employer. Well, she hired somebody that messed her books up. This time she didn't call the company. She called me directly. And here's what she said: I will pay. She said, here's what I paid the company. She said, I don't know what you got paid. She said, I only paid them. She said, I paid them $3,000. I said, they only gave me $1,500 is what I said. So she called me herself. She said, I'd rather give you the $2,000 than the company, because I know you can fix this for me, and you'll make $500 more, and I'll save $1,000. Okay, her books weren't that bad. It was a flat rate she was gonna give me. Guess what happened? I fixed her book in 3 days. Why? Because I had her answer. And you don't realize how much people are willing to pay when you can visibly show them how much you are saving them when it comes to time, frustration, and everything of that particular nature. So you are the answer. I want you to get in your mind that you solve problems. You can solve whatever your expertise is, you can solve the problem, is whatever it is. Now, I'm just looking at the comments for a second. My biggest struggle is how to price my services. Really, that's not the struggle. The struggle is you worried about whether people are going to support that, you know, or not. And if they value what you do, you can put what you're worth. And now if you're doing something just as an introduction to them, you can start with this, and then you can go high level. Like I said, the one guy that's showing me how to do stuff, he's telling me not to charge no less than $3,000. And there are people that are interested in what I'm doing at the $3,000 level. It was a shock to me, but it really isn't a shock, because here's what we're doing. We are putting ourselves out as the expert. When it comes to my orthopedist makes good money, one, because she's the orthopedist for the Ravens, and so she had a good resume, but she did my knee surgeries. I promise you I wasn't going to let a podiatrist touch me. And that orthopedist got paid what she was worth based upon the healing. She promised that the healing that was going to take place in my body, she promised that it would take place, but she didn't even know to the degree that it would take place, because I had my surgeries over 23 years ago. I had my surgeries. They told me I would have arthritis within 5 years. And because by his stripes, I know I'm healed. I don't have any forms of arthritis at all in my knee. But she wanted to come back. She showed me off to other people that wanted to do this. Now there are other hospitals that brought her in as a consultant because of the testimony with me. So not only does she have the Ravens, the Terrapins, I think she added the Eagles also And if she keep it up, she'll be like the world famous Dr. Andrews. That's an orthopedist, because my tear was one that they read about, but never saw or did surgery on. And so she became an expert. Once the word gets out about how you save people money, people will come looking for you. They will come looking for you. Look, I'm offering an introduction of easy entrepreneur graphic sessions if anyone needs help. Okay, that is Ariel. I have trained her. I used to own a graphic business. I've trained her in graphics, so you all can reach out to Ariel. I think she's Ariel in Middleton on Facebook. She says she will help everybody out. Okay, be honest of your worth price yourself according to the amount of information you develop in becoming an expert. Absolutely. If you try to sell yourself as a $2,000 problem solver and you haven't even invested $2,000 in what you're doing, you will do yourself an injustice and no one ever go back. But I put that out there for anybody, for Miss Carolyn. Pay her work. She can edit the heck out of your book, is what she can do, and you'll do it. Also, Minister Lori can do it as well. So that's what we have on there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to stop the YouTube stream and I'm gonna open up all the mics so we can converse back and